What's up, everyone? It's Phoenix here, bringing guys another reaction. This time, it's Purl. Pixar shorts. Been reacting to a lot of these Pixar shorts, and especially these Sparkshort ones. So I've already reacted to Kipple and Smash and Grab, and now we're gonna react to Purl. So let's get right into it. Sparkshorts. Purl.
What's up? Gym tonight?
Welcome to BRO Capital. Yeah, so you'll be up on the 4th floor with investments and, what? The Tigers are up by 20? Yes! Anyway, it's entry level, but your resume was by far the strongest. I'm sure you'll fit right in.
Oh.
Thanks. I still think it's
like
unbelievable
Toy Story.
that I'm really here.
Unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable.
Ugh, I'm so excited. I have a really good feeling about this.
Huh. I'm not sure how to feel about this one.
Hi there.
Did you see they hired a ball of you?
Morning, gentlemen.
Hey, what's the difference between a porcupine and a BMW? With the porcupine, the bricks are on the outside.
Yeah. Good one. So, why do spiders weave webs?
Why?
Because they don't know how to crochet.
That was
Is
just
that like a sport or something?
Like, with the needles and, you know?
that's just a bad joke. That's just a bad joke.
Hey guys, staff meeting. As you can see, we've got a big fat failure on our hands.
Looks like Purl.
So, finance wants answers. Ideas?
Excuse me.
Okay, what's our strategy here? Why are they even know what they're asking? Simple, straightforward.
Oh, guys, let's bring finance in and knit our strategies together.
What? Nah, you're being too soft. We gotta be aggressive.
Yeah, we gotta be aggressive!
Alright, okay, let's put a pin in it. Who's down for 2-for-1 wings?
I see subtlety is not one of the key words for this one.
Hey, we got everybody?
Yeah, that's everybody. Alright, first round's on Gronkowski.
I have thoughts about this one. Oh.
Of course, now who knows who needs Stanley? What the?
Gronkowski.
Purl? Did she always sit there? I don't even recognize her.
So then he says, I know this suit is expensive, baby, but at my apartment, it's 100% off.
Oh, she tells better jokes than you do.
Hey guys, staff meeting. Well, these results speak for themselves. But finance is still asking for...
I say we go for it, and if finance doesn't like it, they can kiss our ass.
All right.
Okay.
Well, it's fine.
I see where this is going.
Happy hour at Swifties.
Is that everybody?
Oh, hold up. Not everybody.
You don't love this place, Purl.
Purl, you're gonna eat so many wings. Purl,
Purl, come over here. Purl.
Oh, thank goodness you're still here. I had such a time trying to find this place. Oh, I missed my stop, and then I didn't know what floor we were on. Excuse me, sir. This Kyle from HR went home early, so I went door to door off each flight.
Leave the knitting at your Nana's house.
What I mean to say is that I can't wait to be part of the team. Guys?
It's a long elevator.
hey, where are you going?
Hi, I'm Pearl.
I'm Lacey.
What are they doing?
I was such a fright.
Hey guys, this is Lacey. Welcome to BRO Capital. You'll be up on the 4th floor with investments.
Thanks. It's still kind of unbelievable that I'm here.
I would say it's unbelievable.
Wow. I have a really good feeling about this.
Well, come on, let me show you around. Tell us all about yourself. We do love a good yarn.
Hey, Purl, you guys coming to Swifties tonight?
Is a wool sweater scratchy?
Okay, so that one held nothing back, and I have thoughts because of that. I understand the message, I do. But I don't think it was executed in the best way. And it does not surprise me that this was written and directed by a female. This just isn't realistic. There's obvious exaggerations about this. And I understand what they're trying to say. Okay, I do. But I also feel like it's kind of pandering almost. Like, it's not... I mean, first of all, that joke was just bad to begin with. It wasn't because she was... Well, let's not be shy about this. It's not because she was a woman, it's just because it was a bad joke. If a man told me that joke, I would still not laugh, because it's stupid. So, I think... I'm trying to figure out how to say this without... Well... There's definitely extreme exaggerations with the whole, violence is everything with the business meetings and it's all of this. I mean, it's not. It's kind of obvious what this short is trying to do, and I don't know if it's necessarily bad, but it's just. I mean, there's no like looking two ways about it. There are ways to integrate a message without making it so blunt and obvious and one-sided like that. I mean, usually a message is going to be a little bit one-sided. It's going to be very biased towards one side. But this, I felt like it exaggerated it too much. I think it would have been... I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, but it doesn't really stick the landing for me. Maybe it's just me who's just had seen too much of this, that it's become an eye roll, rather than being taken seriously. I mean, in some scenarios, there are issues with, workplaces and I guess gender roles in a way. There has been problems with that but not really recently. I mean, generally speaking, if you do the work and if you put in, the effort and you dress up respectfully, you're going to be treated more respectfully than what this is being depicted, right? If you come in, this is definitely a very controversial short. Let's say that. I don't know if I want to get into a whole rant about it. I feel like this short is too late, I guess, for it to really stick, because this sort of environment has not happened in so many years. Like, I mean, there was a time where this was an issue, but that time has long since passed. Generally speaking, you are more respected in the modern societies, no matter what job you have. Guys, as far as the guys that I know, they don't really care whether you're a woman or not. All they care is how you act and how you behave. I mean, I don't think there is that issue anymore. And I know there's the whole debate of whether the gender gap is a real thing, the wage gap is a real thing. And to be honest, no. I mean, sure, there are going to be some scenarios where a man is paid more than a woman, but there's also going to be scenarios where a woman is paid more than a man. It's like how people were criticizing that Mark Hamill got paid more than the person who played Rey for just like a 5-second cameo. And there's a reason for that. It's not because he's a man and she's a woman. It's because he has more value, right? He's been in more. He's an iconic actor. So of course he's going to get paid more for just a shorter appearance. They're A-list actors and they're B-list actors. He's an A-list actor, and he's worth more. I mean, there was even just take the DCAU for example. Gal Gadot was paid way more than Henry Cavill, which was the issue in the first place. Henry Cavill thought that he deserved more. even though he's a B-list actor and she's more of an A-list actor, and she brought the box office numbers. It's just, it gets, I think the lines get a little bit blurred. I feel like it's exaggerated way more than there really is an issue. I think people like to see or blame certain people for there being problems, when really it's not really because of what they think it is. I mean, there's several reasons and there's several motives behind an action or something like that. But it doesn't mean it's just because they're trying to be sexist or they're trying to be racist or they're trying to be whatever. Like, there's very few people who nowadays try to be offensive, who just don't give a second. And those people are just a-holes. Men can do it and women can do it. They all can do it. In some cases, women hurt more than men. Because they target emotionally. And that hurts a lot more than just physical. And we can get debate about all the psychology and all of that. But generally speaking, women just go for these smaller jobs. Generally speaking. They tend to just go for jobs that are more like art-based and more like more visual-based. And then the men tend to go for something more mathematical and strategic and so on. But that doesn't mean that a woman can't do that. Of course they can. Of course they can. And I think that's where this quote-unquote wage gap occurs, is because people have different jobs and different motivations, right? A higher rank is going to get paid more no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. If you go for the higher rank, if you go for the higher tier, you're going to get paid more. That's just how it works. If you're the person doing all the mathematics behind it, and you're doing the strategic, and you're doing the analytics behind it, you're going to get paid more than the person who's just doing the design, the user interface or whatever. And that's where we sort of see this wage gap that doesn't really exist. There's no proof of it actually existing. It's just different circumstances and with different salaries. It's just a matter of circumstances. Men also tend to go for the jobs more. There's a lot of stay-at-home mothers who don't work, and therefore obviously won't get paid as much. And so that sort of factors into the sort of quote-unquote wage gap, where of course the man is going to get paid more because he's the one working. And the woman would be paid equally if she also had the same job. It's just rare. It's just rare to see that a woman and a man at the same ranks to really compare them at the same tier. There's really only one CEO, and he gets paid the most, or she gets paid the most. But it really could be anyone. And I don't think it's fair to blame someone else when it's really not in their control. It's just how the cards are dealt, I guess you could say. I don't think any industry is intentionally targeted to favor one person or the other. It just depends on how much work you put in, what your goals are, what you want to do. And I've discussed this with other people, both men and women, and generally speaking, they say the same. Obviously there are differences in opinions, and that's fine. But I think it's wrong. It's false to think that everything happens because of this particular person, right? Because at the end of the day, that particular person isn't going to be able to stop you from doing everything, right? They're not going to be able to do that. It's not realistic. It's definitely a tough subject to talk about, because historically, yes, there has been problems, but currently, now modernly, I don't think that is the case. In fact, we see more and more women getting into these jobs, like the CEO positions and even government positions, and all these even district attorney positions, and therefore they're getting paid more. They're getting paid the same amount that any other person would get paid, and it's simply because they're going for those positions. And in some ways, it also is that people are allowing them, people are voting for them, people are hiring them. It's not like you're seeing this chain of more women and men all rising, getting these jobs, and now they're getting paid because of that. They're getting rewarded because of that. If you go for the higher position, you're going to get paid more, and generally speaking, there's not really that issue of communication anymore either. It's not just about the money; it's also about communication. Whether the man respects what the woman is saying, and in general, it's being more respected than ever. People say we're going through this regression, where we're going back to 1920s or whatever, and I think that's BS. I think we're in a better position more than ever, and by we, I mean the United States. Obviously, there are locations outside the United States that aren't at the same level. And a common argument that is put out is that, well, the United States has yet to elect a female leader, whereas there's so many others who have female leaders, or who has had female leaders. And sure, U.S. is probably one of the last to have one, but it's not because they weren't able to. It's simply because women just simply didn't choose to run for office. They simply didn't choose to run. The first woman to run for presidency was it Sarah Palin? I don't know. Let me double check before I misspeak. Yeah, Victoria Woodhull. And of course, there's Clinton as well. And I'm not about to get into those politics of, those politics. But, I mean, I don't want to get into the politics. I'm gonna back up a little bit. But, like, people are always criticizing the United States, and honestly, I think it's just because the United States is more in the spotlight than others. And people are always, talking about how the United States is whatever. But there's so much good about the United States that people tend to ignore, because they only want to assume that the United States is doing bad things and it's always, whatever. But that's simply just not the case. Obviously, there are flaws. Yes, nothing is perfect. Nothing has been perfect for a while. And nothing will be perfect, not 100%, because there's always going to be differing opinion. But that doesn't mean that the US has regressed back to the 1920s. If anything, it has improved because of all of the positions that women and men are getting equally. There's so many accomplishments that are happening. It's like we are the only country who constitutionally has the freedom of speech, freedom of expression. While the United Kingdom and Canada has similar rights, they do not constitutionally have for the freedom of expression. And in often cases, hate speech, and not just hate speech, but just speech in general, there are laws against it. There are laws against certain expressions. And I think that's a very dangerous world to live in, where what you say is accounted for. The only thing that should be lawfully lawfully enforced is fighting words, and that is the case. Those are the only things. That is the only scenario where it lawfully can be punished. Technically, hate speech is not against the Constitution, and people think that it should be, but when you start enforcing hate speech, the lines begin to blur. What is defined as hate speech exactly? Like, you can say, oh yeah, this extreme language and this and this and that, but eventually it's going to get blurred. Once you start enforcing that, the lines get blurred. Once you start enforcing speech, it begins to become very biased, and it begins to become very it's like just like a wave crashing in, and it just fills up so quickly. Like, it's a domino effect almost. Like, if you enforce one thing, then you could argue something else that is not necessarily as bad as that one thing, but it's very similar. Like, would curse words, calling someone a curse word, would that be a hate speech? In some cases, people would say that, yeah, that's hate speech. But I don't think someone should go to jail because of it. I mean, yeah, it's rude. It's rude to call someone certain things. But at the same time, it's not necessarily a go to jail type of rude. It's more of like you're an a-hole type of thing, type of deal. It's just a whole mess. Just a whole mess. Anyways, I don't really want to get into a huge rant. I could, but I won't. I just think that we're in a better position than people really say that we are. It is unfair to hold the United States to such high standards when there are way worse countries where certain types of people get murdered and executed for just being them. Middle East, that is a real thing. And you get and there are countries where you literally get executed for saying the wrong thing, not just hate speech, but just the wrong thing in general. And that is more messed up than anything the United States has done. I'm not going to, say that the United States is perfect, because we're not. At the end of the day, we are all human. But that doesn't mean that we are, this the way people think we are, I guess, is the best way to say it. Anyways, that's all. Leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe for more content. And peace out, guys. It's been a blast.